Today we're going to be talking about some advanced soloing concepts. I haven't been on in a while. I want to announce first that my website has been updated as of today. You can buy the Beato book on my website. Go to rickbeato.com, check it out. And anyways, so what I want to talk about today is some more kind of advanced lines and what I was just playing there to start with. What I like to do is I like to take a chord and kind of explore a scale for a while, improvise around, and look for a bunch of different possible chord shapes that I can play out of, or scale positions that I can play out of. So what I was playing there was in the D melodic minor scale. D melodic minor, here I'm playing a D minor major 9 chord. So this would be, so I'm thinking a couple different, so here's a scale, D melodic minor. So I'm taking some different arpeggio shapes here. So I'm using G Lydian arpeggio. And I see this shape right here, this F major 7 sharp 5 shape. That's really a shape to grab in this position here, in the 5th position, where I've got my D minor chord here, this half diminished, or this minor major 7 chord right here. If I play it here. So right here, I've got this shape, and then down here is more where the mixed sharp 11 shape is. So I'm thinking kind of mixed sharp 11 here. This is kind of what I was talking about the other day when I was talking about Pat Martino. A lot of times Pat Martino, if you ask him or watch any interviews, he talks about, he only thinks of the 2 chord. So if he's thinking in G Mixolydian, he's thinking D minor, D Dorian. So, but he uses passing tones in it too. So I'm playing in D Dorian. So right there, that's just D Dorian. But if I think in D melodic minor, it's a little different. So then I'm thinking like G mixed sharp 11, F Lydian augmented, D melodic minor, D flat altered dominant. These are all chords from that D melodic minor scale. So if I have a C sharp 7 sharp 5, that's going to give me that sound. Or G7 flat 5 or G7 sharp 11. So I have this shape here. That's your D minor major 7 down to this position. So I can play out of this chord shape. I can play out of that chord shape. I can play out of this chord shape too. This is would be kind of an F Lydian augmented. I can play out of this. Play out of that chord shape. For this chord, for this chord, for this chord, for this chord. So I've got my F major 7 sharp 5 here. I have it there. I have my D minor major 7 voicing right here. And I'm thinking of lines in those shapes. So I've got this. So I'm playing like a D minor major 9. So here's my shape there, right? have this shape right here. Here. And here. So if I'm thinking of all these different chords in D melodic minor, and I can cover the neck in D melodic minor, then if I'm thinking A flat minor 7, right? And then I'm thinking D altered there, D flat altered. So that's a 2-5-1. Let's say that I was thinking if I'm going E minor 7 flat 5 to A altered and resolving to D minor major 7, I could play then so I did A altered. So, right? So I'm thinking B flat melodic minor here. Or if I'm playing a 2-5-1 in F, I can go. And then I can go to this. So I went to F leading augmented there. So G minor. Then. So I went to F, I went to C altered. To F leading augmented there. C altered. So that's a nice change there. 2, 5, 1. So here's my 2 chord. I'm playing a B flat major 7 arpeggio over this. So I just used this, the same scale, part of a 2-5-1 in G flat, part of a minor 2-5-1 in D minor, part of a 2-5-1 in F major, and I was basing it off of a D flat altered, or I was basing it off of a D minor major 7 chord, or I was basing it off of an F major 7 sharp 5, or I could play a G7 flat 5 sound. So I'm playing a So I did a G. I'm alternating G and A triads there, and I could do D minor. So I could go G major, A major, D minor. So I just did G, A, D minor, G, A, D minor. That's where you get into your more melodic playing. If you take a couple shapes from that melodic minor scale, so once again, we're in D melodic minor. I've taken 3 triads out of it: a G triad, an A triad, and a D minor triad. And I'm going to play in those shapes then. So. just those chord shapes there, if I did spread triads. So I did a G major, A major, D minor. Here's G major, spread triad up here. Right? And then so I did D minor here. D minor, A, G major. So those three triads really combine and create that entire sound. G, A, D minor, G, A, D minor. So if I were to go D minor to A major, G major, D minor, A major, G major, D minor, A major, G major.
Okay, we're back.
Sorry guys, Aaron's doing the, what are you doing, Aaron?
Messing up.
He's messing up. No, I didn't have it in airplane mode there, sorry. It's probably my friend Pat calling.
Dan.
Huh?
Dan.
So, anyways, what I was going over there was the, are we back?
Yep.
I was going over just some strategies for playing in these particular scales here. Taking some of the triads out, taking some of the seventh chords out of there, and using the shapes to base your soloing off of. So, once again, if I take D melodic minor, so... and I think of the different chords that come from that key, like D minor major 7, D flat altered or C sharp altered, F major 7 sharp 5, or you could do it like that. G dominant 7 sharp 11, that's mixed sharp 11. And I solo in those shapes where those chords are. But you have to really know those chord scales there. But the way to know them is to base them around the shapes. Now, I get asked a lot about sight reading, and it's very difficult to teach sight reading to people on video because you actually have to have the person there doing the sight reading. I can't really teach you to sight read because it's something that you need to be able to do. But I can teach you strategies for sight reading, and it's using the same concepts here. If I'm going to play in a key, let's say I want to play in F major, I'm going to take this 5th position here. And one of the reasons I'm going to take that position, if I think of a key, if I'm going to take a key with that has a lot of naturals in it, like F major, it's got only a B flat in it, I'm going to take a position that has a lot of, where my index finger is going to be where there's a lot of natural notes. So if you think about the 5th position, you've got A, D, G, C, E, A. All those notes are in F major. So all in that area, in this 4-fret span, is it working? In this 4-fret span, I have all the notes of F major. Now, any notes that I want to have, like I was using that C sharp there on my D melodic minor, that's an in-between note. Right there, the C sharp. And the B flat is in the key, right? But the C sharp is not. So if I'm going to sight read something and it's in F major or in C major, so C major I had to move back to grab the B. Those are all the available notes in C major, but that C major requires a 5-fret span here between the 4th fret because I have to reach back for one note, the B natural. But F major lies very naturally in here. So if I'm going to read something in F, if I'm sight reading, I'm going to probably go into the 5th position here because any notes that I need to grab down there, if I need to grab F or G, I can simply shift back, and I can get back in, and I can get all the way up to D here. Now, when you start having accidentals, like if you're playing over a 1-6-2-5 progression and you're in the key of F, or a 3-6-2-5, which is the same thing. So I got A minor, D7, then I've got G minor, C7, back to F major. Now I did G minor. You can do it here. I can do C7 there. I can do F major there. But all those notes here, so on the A minor 7, I'm going to play a Phrygian sound. So if I got, and then when it goes to D7, I'm going to say, okay, what notes change in that position? Well, the F sharp is out of position here. It goes back to the 4th fret to grab the 3rd of the chord, right? Or the F sharp is here, so there's my note that's out of key but in position. And I went to the flat 9. So I went. There's a note out of position, in position but out of key, which is the 3rd of this chord, flat 9. That's actually out of position. That note's not there, that E flat. And I can go here if I want to get that sharp 5. So I'm using an augmented triad to get back into position. So I've only got one note that's out of position there. So I know that I'm here. If I'm on the C chord, I can go back and grab the sharp 5. I can go up here on the 1 chord and grab the Lydian note. Okay, or I can go here and grab the flat 9 and the D7 chord. So I've got 1, 3, 6, 2, 5, and I can see this C7 flat 9 sound right there. So if I'm going, one note out of position, but everything else was in this 4-fret span. Even though I used one note out of key, I did. There's one note out of key. I did the D7 to the flat 9, 3rd to the flat 9. Flat 9, D flat on the C7 flat 9 chord. There's my 3rd of the D7, 3rd of the G minor. There's my sharp 5. That's out of key but in position. So right here, if I'm going to play a 3-6-2-5 in F, essentially all the notes available that I want to play are within this position, or at least 1 fret back if I want to grab the sharp 5 on the C chord, or if I want to grab the 3rd on the 6 chord, I have to move back. But I typically will go, that I'll reach my finger back and then come back into position. Out of position. I use the flat 9 there. I use that, or so to the 3rd, up to the root of the D7 chord. So I'm going 3. Up to the flat 9. So occasionally I will jump on the top side of the position and grab a note. If I want to grab that if I'm on G minor, I'm playing D minor 7 over G. Up to to the flat 9. Okay. Up to the flat 9. So I'm getting that. Again, an A. Getting that A major triad, which gives me the C13 flat 9 sound there. But all those notes are right here, unless I. Then you start getting into some other sub changes, and you go. I'm still basically in position, so I'm doing more of like a some tritone subs. So here's my my 1 chord, and I'm thinking of A flat 7. So I go da 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 da, and then I go. That's when you start getting into some tritone subs. Right? So I'm going F major. Down to this A flat sound on the D, right? And then I'm resolving to that, thinking like D flat 7. Instead of going 3, 6, 2, 5, I'm thinking 3, or I'm thinking 1, flat 3, flat 6, flat 2, with dominant chords. So if I go here, this is a tritone sub of the 5 chord. This is a tritone sub of the 2 chord dominant, made dominant, and then I go to the tritone sub flat 2 chord there, which is the sub for that. So anytime that you're doing this stuff, you have to know. I did a kind of a strange thing there. I used an E flat 7 chord to go back to F major. That's kind of. So this position playing, knowing where these chord shapes are in a particular position, like F major, knowing where that flat 9 is for the 5 chord, or for the 6 chord, and where the flat 9 is for the 5 chord is really important. Or knowing where the sharp 5 for the 5 chord is, or the third of the 6 chord. The dominant 6 chord, which is right there. Knowing what notes are out of position, but basically in this area. Now, if I were to move to E major, I would actually move to here. Because once again, I got G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, B, D sharp, and G sharp. So all these notes are in E major. So you want to move to a position where you have as many notes available on your index finger. That's really the key to sight reading. This position playing like that. Now there's many different places to play, but if you take the mid-range of the guitar, let's say between the 3rd fret and the 10th fret, this area, this is your best place to sight read, unless you have some really high notes here and you're going up to your high E, and you need some notes that are available up here. Most of your reading is going to be done between the 3rd and the 10th fret. So if I'm in E major, I'm going to play here. If I'm in G flat major, F sharp major, I'm going to play here. If I'm in F major, I'm going to play there. If I'm in E flat major, I'm going to play back here. Okay, so that's going to, if I'm in G major, I'm going to play up here. So that's going to give me those notes. Now, if I'm in G major, where all those notes are in all those in that key. I know where they are in open position, meaning where I'm doing 3 notes per string, or in closed position or closed position. It's easier to read if you're playing in closed position or close position, as I like to call it, in a 4-fret span. So I'm going to be reading in G major here. I'm going to read in G major here, right here, because this, once again, I can get all my fingers in 4 frets. If I'm reading here in G major, I have to duck back to grab this B here because it's not in the key. It's not in that position, okay? Either that or I have to pop up to here, which is actually an awkward move because that creates some, when you're basing it off your pinky like that, when you're trying to grab those notes, you get into open positions. What you don't want to do is go from a closed position into an open position like that because it, you want to know what notes are available under which fingers. That's kind of the key to this. So for any type of this kind of advanced playing like this, or advanced sight reading, know your positions. That's really the key. The guitar is a position-based instrument. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't know if I'm going to play in F major. I know where those notes are on. I know where all those notes in F major are on the high E string, on the B string, on the G string, on the D string, and so on and so forth. I know where they are as well. So if I have to climb up with something and run out of notes there, then I know I can go up to here. If any of you know the Segovia scale fingerings, those are things that we had to learn back in the olden days, which is a set of scale fingerings that Andre Segovia taught that go through all 24 major and minor scales. On the minor scales, it does melodic minor ascending and Aeolian descending, or natural minor descending. But one of the cool things about it is that it would go up. I forget where it goes up actually, but it would use these different positions because once again Segovia realized that you need to know G major here, and then you've got G major here based off your pinky, okay? G major here if you're basing it off here. Off here. When I used to teach, I wouldn't really teach the modes to people. I would teach the 5 positions of the major scale. And I would do the 5 close positions. That would always be the first thing I would do for teaching people to improvise. I would take G major, for example, and I would play here. I'd grab as many available notes as I could in this area, in the second position. So I'd start at F sharp, and I go up to A, because those are all the available notes in G major. Okay? Then I go up to here, and I'd play, and you would think this would be A Dorian. And I go up to C there, but I'd go, then there's a position change. Because that's kind of an in-between position, but I would teach that. Then I go here to would be typically Phrygian. That would give me all the notes from this B up to this D, and then up to here I would move up to D Mixolydian. And then I would come down to E Aeolian there, or G major in this position at the 12th position, and then it would repeat again in the 14th fret. So I would cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are my 5 positions of the major scale. And that's really how I got to know the guitar neck really well. And then I did the same thing with the melodic minor scale, and I did the same thing with the harmonic minor scale. When I'm playing that melodic minor, some of these have stretches here. They don't lie as easily in those positions. If I'm playing here, there's some position changes. You just move for that one position change, and they get right back. Position change, back into the position, and then I use an extended, and then. Give me those notes in D melodic, and then you know if you want to jump from a note down here. I'm taking notes. I'm taking notes in that melodic minor scale because I know where all those are all over the neck, and then it's very easy to jump around with them and play melodic ideas. It's going to help your flow a lot. So I would sit and play for hours in one scale until I really started getting those fingerings. I'm starting to use some string skipping. So I did. Those are cool sounds there because you start to get in more angular. Once you get those fingerings down, it's way easier to start moving around and using wider intervals and things like that. You got to know where they are there. You got to know where you're going, and then you start breaking the things apart on single strings, on sets of 2 strings, 3 strings, and so on and so forth. Any questions? Aaron, any questions?
Ask them to ask questions and then
Ask questions. It's a lot of stuff there. But people always, when they ask me about this sight reading, you have to find the position that encompasses as many notes, quickly scan the music, find as many notes that are in the key, figure out what key you're in, and then find the position that grabs as many notes as you can throughout the piece. Anything here?
How do you improvise using major and minor 7 arpeggios?
Okay, major and minor 7th arpeggios. Well, you can do them a lot of different ways. You can play off the chords. If I got D minor 7, I can simply play a D minor 7 arpeggio. I can play A minor 7. Because A minor 7 over D minor will give you a D minor 9 sound. I can use an E minor 7 arpeggio because that gives you the upper extensions, right? 9, 11, 13, so on and so forth. I can play over D minor, F major. I can use an F major 7 arpeggio on there, okay? So those are 3 different arpeggios that I can use on D minor. I could use a C major 7th arpeggio. That gives me a more like a dominant sound here, but those notes still work great. Or so I'm going D minor, F major 7, D minor 7, C major 7. I did C major 9, or D minor 7, So those are, you can use those arpeggios. If I'm playing over a G major chord, I can use an E minor 7 arpeggio, right? For that. And I just take some of this, I'll take some of the minor 7th chords that are in the particular key.
You want to take some more questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were playing the scale on skipped strings, did you know how it would sound in your mind's ear?
Yes.
Okay. Another one. How does classical improvisation differ from jazz improvisation, if at all?
Really, classical improvisation is more with just the structure of what you're using. Jazz improvisation uses a lot of altered notes, a lot of upper extensions. If I'm playing something in classical music, so what am I doing there? That would be more of like a classical chord progression. I'm using some spread triads. It sounds fancy. It's not that fancy. C minor, spread triad, or that's F major in first inversion. Spread triad, B flat major, E flat major in first inversion, A diminished, D major in first inversion, G minor, B diminished. Then I'm going to do, I did C minor, A flat major first inversion, D diminished, G major first inversion, C minor, B flat minor. That's a much simpler kind of style progression that you would use there. So I'm using, so on and so forth. That would be more of like a classical type progression where I'm not using extended chords. I'm using triads, major, minor, diminished, augmented triads.
Great. We have another question. How to motivate my 7-year-old son into music?
If you figure it out, let me know. To motivate your kids with music, you got to make it fun. I probably get my kids more engaged in singing than in playing, because they really like to sing. All kids like to sing. And I encourage them to sing. And what do I encourage them to sing? I encourage them to sing their favorite video games that they play, their favorite TV show themes. I will record them all the time. I'll record them on my phone. I'll video them. I'll bring them down to the studio if they want to do the theme. Yesterday they did 5 themes to Pokemon at breakfast, and I recorded all of them. I had them all sing in unison. And then I put on my Instagram. If you follow me at Rick Beato #1, that's my Instagram page. You can see I put out a video a couple days ago of me and Lennon singing a Mike Brecker, a Klaus Ogerman tune called Cityscape, which is one of my favorite. I've talked about it on here many times. It's one of my favorite pieces of all time. And my kids know the entire melody. They know every lick Michael Brecker plays in it. They can sing right from the beginning. But I took my favorite spot in it, and I had my daughter Lennon and I sang together. We sang along with Brecker playing this gorgeous, gorgeous melody. And it's got all these interval jumps in it. But Lennon, who's 7, speaking of 7-year-olds, she loves to sing, and she loves to sing it. And by doing that, I'm encouraging her to sing a more sophisticated melody, not just to sing Let It Go, because she'll sing that as well, although she doesn't really care for that much. But I will play these really sophisticated pieces, and they will follow a line and sing them. Kids can learn anything if you work with them enough and they listen to things enough. They can mimic anything. So I would encourage you just to practice that and practice singing. Now, don't worry about working on instruments. Kids can learn instruments at any time. If you want them to be piano players, and you're a Tiger parent, you got to make them practice an hour and a half a day. But I don't necessarily believe in that. I believe in kids need to come to it themselves. Now, there are certain things, if they have a natural talent in music, or if you want them to get a background in piano, I would at least do lessons for about 3 years to begin, starting at 5. Or as young as you can, or at 7, for example, and put them through 3 years of lessons and make them practice for 30 minutes a day. They'll develop enough two-handed independence and learn how to read basic music notation. And that finger dexterity will last them their entire life. That stuff that they learn really early on stays. And any type of counterpoint, it's very hard for an older person to learn how to play Bach, for example, because the counterpoint is extremely hard to train your brain, an older brain.
Great. Thank you. Do you want to take another one? Or?
I'll take one more.
Okay. Good one here. How do you build an interesting improvisation that is closely tied to the original melody of a tune?
I would start by taking the melody and doing slight variations on it. So let's say you take All the Things You Are. I like to take that because it goes through a lot of keys and a straight ahead chord progression. So the melody is. Okay, so I would take the line and go. Okay, so what did I do there? Okay, so I made almost like a little classical melody out of it, and I did the thematic thing was ba ba da do da do da do ba boo ba da do da do do ba da da do da do do da do do ba ba da do ba boo do da do do ba boo ba. So I transposed that melody down to the key of E flat using this position. I started in A flat. There we go again, right? I think I did it. What did I do? Yes, I did. Tried to use the same themes on both things. So I'm developing that idea. I started out simply, and the second time. And then. So that's a way to develop themes, is take the melody and stick very close to it, but play lines that connect the melody notes. That's all I'm doing there, is connecting the melody notes. Or, so I did. I had to use a passing tone to fill in there because I was arriving at the chord tone sooner because of the interval there. But once again, I did an ascending there. So instead of you go use both sets of intervals. Use the melody ascending and the melody descending, and just start doing variations off it.
Great.
So anyways, if you guys have any more questions, you can leave them in the stream after. Remember, go to rickbeato.com. My new website is up as of this afternoon. You can buy the Beato book there. No more emailing me. You can buy the Beato book right at rickbeato.com. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.